This is home for tomorrow. That way is Anegada. Right in front of us is the hurricane path.
%90 of the buildings are damaged, and more than 200 people are still listed as missing. The storm is responsible for at least 38 deaths across the Caribbean. Nick Cunha was on the British Virgin Islands during the storm. He has since made it back to Kansas City, Missouri. Nick, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you.
First off, are you okay? You doing okay?
Yeah, doing well. Doing as good as I could be. It's good to be home, but I still feel like I'm pretty far away from home.
Take us back to when the storm arrived on that island. What happened?
You know, I'd say there's nothing that could really prepare us. I think when we went into the storm, we've been through a few of them. We expected, well, we didn't know what to expect, but what we ended up enduring was something that's life-changing for sure.
For people who have never witnessed or been through a hurricane, describe what it looked like, what it sounded like.
What it looked like, it was like a wall of chalk, which was just, I guess, cloud swirling around us for about 4 hours. It sounded like we were surrounded, sounded like we were inside of a subway. Walls were shaking, wind was blowing the roof off of us. We were being pelted with rain. It felt like, you know, little BBs hitting us all over our bodies.
While this was going on, how long did that last, and where exactly were you?
It lasted from about 12 o'clock to about 4. Luckily, at around 2 o'clock, when the eye actually came, we were rescued by our neighbors. We were up on the north-facing Ridge Road above Cooper Bay, which was, from what we understand, one of the hardest hit areas.
And how did you take shelter?
We started in the lounge. When the windows started to buckle, we could see them flexing. We moved into the mother's bedroom and the downstairs. We heard the top level of the house go, and we went out to look, and we saw through the front windows that the balcony that we had been standing on earlier was completely gone, and we saw debris falling from the top floor through the windows. When we shut the doors, we basically lashed some power cord from a lamp to the 2 doorknobs that were in that room. And when those doors blew open, we had a last resort, which was the bathroom, and we ended up being in the shower for about 35 to maybe an hour while the roof was ripped off of us, and we hunkered down with 3 5-month-old triplets, the mother and father of those babies, the aunts, my wife, and two cats.
And the roof got ripped off of that shower?
It got ripped off of everything. That room was the only thing left of the house.
All right. Once the hurricane ended, I mean, how did you emerge from that? I mean, what did you walk out to?
Basically, we were in that shower, and right before the eye hit, we were in the shower holding some wood over our heads. It was a headboard from the bedroom and a bit of drywall. We were trapped. That was our last resort. And at one point, I got up and opened the door to look out to see if there was a way out, and the door blew open in my face, and I struggled to shut the door, and luckily Alex Ashman was a good friend I was with, the father. the triplets, came over and helped me shut the door, and we looked, and there was a window to the bathroom that we kicked open, climbed out of one by one, and went into a small generator room. And as soon as we got in there, it was the eye of the storm, and everything stopped for 30 minutes. And luckily, our neighbor came over to see if we needed help, and his house was still standing, so we went there.
Well, there went my car. There's our house. Pump room's good.
You know, you must have been freaking out. What about those children that you were with in that shower?
You know what? I can't even really recall. All of the women we were with each had one, and I couldn't see the faces of them, and probably a good thing, because I was able to keep my head clear and try to think of the next step.
Now, you are back in the United States, but you know a lot of people who are still on the island, and you're trying to help them. How?
Yeah. So I was evacuated by a private vessel. I just happened to get lucky to end up on a dock where there was a boat leaving for Puerto Rico, and as a U.S. national citizen, I could get on the boat and clear into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico waived a lot of the regulations to enter due to the state of emergency. So I was there yesterday all day in a kind of a command center at the Yacht Center in San Juan, trying to assist people with evacuation lists and coordinating with some people who had boats, 16 containers full of emergency aid and supplies.
You know, there's been a lot made of the recovery efforts and relief efforts for the entire Caribbean. How do you think things are being handled right now?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of misinformation. From my experience, it could be handled better, but I don't think anyone really was prepared quite for the devastation that actually happened. So, you know, it's tough to say. I think that some regulations and some departments could probably be better communicating between themselves to get information out to people like those in Puerto Rico who are running into walls and having to cut through some gray tape. It seems like the rules keep changing. Nobody really knows how to help, but there are people that are there. I mean, I think there was a similar issue with Sam Branson and his family, Richard Branson, when they were trying to get aid to Puerto Rico, or get aid to Virgin Gorda. It's very difficult right now, but there is supply, and there are boats, and there are people and volunteers that are ready as soon as somebody gives the green light.
I imagine that you're anxious to get back there.
I am. You know, that's been my home for 13 years. I had a business. I have all of my closest friends. They're like my second family. So it's really hard to be in this place right now. It's so far away.
Joining us from Kansas City, Missouri, Nick Cunha. Nick, thank you very much, and we're glad that you're well and safe.
Thank you.